Today we'll be looking at a UTME physics question. And this is a tricky question that most students will fail on their first attempt. So let's look at it. Which graph correctly represents the motion of a body thrown vertically upwards and returned to the ground? So what are these options? A, B, C, and D. The correct answer here, of course, is going to be B. But why is it B? I'm going to explain. So the graph said that is the motion of a body that was, so this is a person here. He threw up a rock, and then from here, it went up and returned to the ground. But what we're looking at now is not just something like this. It's the velocity time graph. So velocity here, time here. Do you understand? Yeah. So the rock thrown upwards. If you remember your motion under gravity, what happens is that velocity, when you throw something upwards, you throw it with a certain velocity, and then at its highest point, velocity becomes zero, and then starts falling back down to the ground. So reach a certain velocity again. That's what's happening, and that's what you're trying to represent in this graph. So with option A, which is what most students will choose because they will think of, oh, since you threw it upwards and then it's not to the ground, then it's going to be something like this. But this is going to be wrong because what does this mean? It's telling you that the body started with a velocity of zero because this is a baseline, this is horizontal, right? So it's zero. It started with a velocity of zero, and then at this certain time, it goes to the highest velocity, right? And then return back to the ground. But that's not correct for motion under gravity. So if you throw something upwards, it's starting to a certain velocity because you threw it with force. And then at the highest point, that's when the velocity became zero before it starts returning to the ground. So we look at the other option B. What's this saying here? It's saying that it started with a certain velocity. Let's call that V, right? And then as time progressed, the velocity reduced down to zero, right? So think of it like me throwing up this marker. I started with a certain velocity. Then when it got to its highest point, velocity became zero. This is what is happening here. When velocity became zero, it started falling down back again. So from zero, it started falling down, meaning the velocity started increasing as the pen or the body was falling. So velocity starts increasing again from zero till it gets to the velocity at the ground. Do you understand? So this is going to be the correct representation of this particular motion. Option C, what is option C saying? Option C is simply acceleration, right? It's a change in velocity. This is velocity, this time. The change in velocity with time. So this is acceleration, right? And then D is what? Acceleration. So the body accelerated, and then it got to a certain point and continued with constant velocity. You understand? So the correct answer to this is B, not A. Take note.